Hey guys, Coach Dan here. We have a lower body on the cards today, but before this, I was watching the video footage from the push workout yesterday. Go check that out, by the way. That was nice. Titties, gotcha. Tries, gotcha. Shoulders, got them all. And, mate, I am very light-skinned, like very white, like pasty white. Like, this is my shaker bottle. Like, that's kind of how I look on camera, especially when I'm wearing black on black. The backgrounds are black. It just makes me look extra white. And when people used to say to me, geez, you get sunburnt in the moonlight, I was like, yeah, very funny, but it's probably true. That's how white I am. Anyway, that was just, that reminds me of a story, actually. I once had a client and we had an agreement, right? And this was a lesson learned for me as a trainer. This was in my early days. And I made an agreement that I would get a fake tan if she reached a goal that we had agreed upon. And so she reached the goal. I got a fake tan. It looked very unusual. Actually, maybe people thought it looked really good, actually. So maybe I'm going wrong. Maybe I need to be fake tanning all the time. Anyway, got this fake tan. And then her results and her goal kind of backslid and stuff like that. Now, the lesson learned is... What is the lesson learned there? You can't rely on external things to help you obtain goals. It needs to come from the inside, because once that external thing goes away, you have no reason to do the thing. So as a trainer, that was a bit of a lesson learned. Sometimes a bit of external pressure as a trainer is not a bad thing. You keep people accountable, but eventually they have to develop something within, because you just can't follow them around for the whole week. 168 hours in a week, you might be with them for a couple of them at max. You might have contact with them for a little period of time outside of that. So in general, you need to develop within here to be successful in the fitness game, in the gym game. So external pressure and rewards and penalties can only get you so far. Eventually, you gotta look from within. All right. Anyway, on the cards today, we've got our second lower body session for the week. This starts with a heavy posterior chain movement of the stiff-legged deadlift. I've been really working on that the last couple of months, trying to improve my weights on that. It's been really fun. So trying hard on that. Get a little bit fired up today. And then I'll listen to some rap music that'll push me over the edge and hopefully up my performance from last week. Energetically, I feel quite good at the back end of the week, so we're happy with that. And then, we move into the rest of the workout, some split squats, some leg press, some hamstring curls, and then calves and abs. And then Bob's your uncle, it's the weekend. Just living it up, living the good life. What do they say, gym rat? All right, enough shit talk. Remember, it's got to come from in. Not no external, but you can't always rely on external rewards or pressures to get you where you want to be. You got to develop it in here. Okay, let's hit the stiffies. Let's go. All right, first up, we're going stiff-legged deadlifts. So, stiff-legged deadlift I'm using as a hamstring exercise. Glutes will get hit. Some people put it in their back workouts. I potentially don't. I don't know about that one, because the muscles of the back while doing a stiff-legged deadlift, the goals kind of hold them rigid. So we're sort of doing what we call an isometric contraction for some of those muscles in the back. But to be fair, like, your back gets really sore after deadlifting, muscularly. So that might give you a sign that it's okay. But for me, I think the muscles that are mainly moving this weight or moving me, and then I'm moving the weight, are going to be the things extending your hips. And those are hamstrings and glutes. So the way in which we can make this more hamstringy is when doing it. So I'll set feet hip width apart. So for me to lean more into my hamstrings, I'll only keep a soft bend at the leg. So my hips are quite high. I'm loading up the hamstrings pretty hard here. My glutes are going to be a big worker here, but I want to feel a big stretch in my hamstring, meaning they're lengthened and there's tension on them. Big stretch, hips high, breath, brace, stand, control the down, stand. So let's say I wanted to make this just a general overall movement and be even stronger. I'd probably bend my legs a little bit, potentially taking some of that stretch away from the hamstring, allowing me to use the quads, potentially me feeling my glutes more as well. But for me, hamstrings means hips high and soft knee, back flat, all that kind of jazz. And we're going up to same weight as last week. See if we can't get a rep or two extra. And then we're ripping and tearing. Let's go.
As I was warming up for the deadlifts, I was like, I fucking love this shit, you know? You get some tunes in the ears and just fucking get jacked up and you enjoy yourself and you feel your body work. And I was like, this is fucking hectic. And then I did the deadlifts and I was like, my enthusiasm has decreased slightly. But no, I love this shit. You just got to keep the effort throughout the workout. Deadlifts are good. We were 1 rep up on last set last week, so that is a good sign. Next, we go to rear foot elevated split squat. So I do this funky little setup where I have a bench in front, put the dumbbells on the bench, and we got this roll here. This could easily be another bench, will be completely fine. And this one, we're trying to bias as much towards the glutes as possible. So technique for that looks a little bit different than if we wanted your quads to be a big worker. So for glutes, while doing split squat, you'll see here that I have a significant lean forward, meaning that by the time the rep ends, well, the rep ends when my chest reaches my knee, essentially. We want to get a little less knee flexion out of this one and a little more hip flexion, so it's glutey and not as quaddy. That's my intention here. And yeah, so dumbbells out on that bench so I don't have to pick them up off the ground. That's a minor detail, but I'm pretty methodical with this. So I'll plant my foot out in front, back foot goes on. I've got my straps here, so grips are non-issue. Strap in, strap on, dumbbell out, chest down to meet the leg, drive up. So we're going pretty heavy with this today. I'm up to 42.5 per hand, which is pretty cool, but also pretty tough and stressful. So we'll only do 2 sets. All right, so doing this, lean forward. If you want to make it as glutey as possible, we lean forward so we get more hip flexion and more glute stretch, and therefore making a little bit glutey. You'll notice my knee doesn't bend heaps. If I wanted to make it more quaddy, I'd shorten the step up and get a lot more knee flexion and knee quad stretch. So this is a good exercise. You can make it more quaddy if you want, make it more glutey. It's a brutal one, but as far as like glute exercise go, this is the GOAT for me. This has always fucked me up pretty badly. So, all right, let's get the biggies out and let's go. All right, so we have gone up until now stiff-legged deadlift. So we're trying to make the stiff-legged deadlift as hamstringy as possible. Glutes come along with that. Obviously, everything else with a deadlift, like it's a pretty fatiguing movement, back, core, everything. But again, what we're trying to bias towards is hamstrings. We go to that Bulgarian split squat or rear foot elevated split squat, and we're trying to bias it towards the glutes, but quads have to do some work as well. Now we come to the leg press and we want to make this as quaddy as possible. So we're using technique that makes the quads the limiting factor. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So when we are trying to make the quads work hard, we want lots of knee flexion to stretch the quad out. And we probably want to make it such that the glutes can't do such a good job for us. So if I go with my foot position and I place it low on the platform and I get my toes out, what this will allow is this will allow a lot of knee flexion, stretching the quads out and making it really hard for the quads. Now, if I were to take my feet high on the platform, what I'll get is less knee flexion and still full hip flexion, meaning my glutes can really participate to that movement quite well. And they'll stretch out and they'll get a lot of love there. So for us, or for me, should I say, we want to go quads. So feet as low as you can while keeping the heels on the platform. Toes slightly out, it's good for me, kind of gets around my ankle mobility issues, getting us to as much knee flexion as possible. Now, I take my knee flexion to a pretty far extent. You don't have to go that far necessarily. I just got to think may as well, with the information that's currently out there, may as well tick that box. Makes you lift less, and that means less stress on your body, hopefully for more growth. All right, let's build it up. We'll go a heavy set and then a couple of lighter sets. Let's go. Oh, hello. Okay, hamstring curls next. Really proud of that leg press effort. Just kept calling myself a little bitch. Got a couple little personal records there, so happy with that. Hamstring curls 2 sets. So we deadlifted before, 3 sets. But with the deadlift, because they're pretty heavy and hard, it's kind of hard to do too much. Well, it gets harder if you keep doing more and more volume. So if I want to get a little bit extra work in my hamstrings, but that's very fatiguing, something like a hamstring curl isolation can be good. Nothing to this one. Most gyms have this. So you set the ankle pad far enough that it's on the back of your ankle. The range, we want all the way to the bottom if you can manage. And we simply pull heels towards the butt, control the down, heels towards the butt. So feeling hamstring, obviously. And yeah, 2 sets here. And we are in the back end of things. Let's get it going. Now, does anyone get psychotically fired up for calves? I don't know about you, but I just kind of never really get too fired up. I just kind of get into the set and get going. Maybe I should. It's about this time of the workout though where I don't have too much fire left in me. I'm just trying to get to the end, so I'll have to dig deep here. And then just hopefully I sleep good at night and can wake up tomorrow and do it again. All right, enough bitching from me. So we have a Smith machine calf raise today. Now I set up a box in front, a box that is large enough so when you come down, you don't run into the ground. So you might do this on a weight plate, but hit the ground. Doesn't allow a large stretch. And again, you'll hear me always talk about the importance of, the potential importance of stretch. How there is some research out there surrounding training muscles in length and position. Now, if I hit the ground and I can't fully stretch out, maybe we are limiting ourselves slightly as far as muscle growth goes there, potentially. Like, it's not conclusive, but I am leaning towards the side of may as well go through that full range. So get your box high enough. I've got a weight plate on the front of it such that it doesn't flip when I add some weight here in a second. I'll set myself under the bar, half the foot on, at least the ball of the big toe. So that ball that kind of sits below your big toe, essentially. You want that at least on the platform. If that falls off the platform and you kind of end up tippy-toeing, you find that you can't produce as much force. So if we start sliding off, which does happen to me sometimes, you'll see me take a half second to shuffle my foot back on, because otherwise I'm just tippy-toeing and I won't be able to produce much force. So calf raises, 4 sets, only calf exercise. I train calves 2 times per week, 4 sets on my other lower body day, 4 sets today, that's it. 2 exercises total. I don't really see a massive need to do multiple different exercises for calves. Plus, I've already done plenty up until today. So you might see people do, the seated version of calf raiser. I kind of lean towards not doing that pretty much ever. So, people will talk about how you bend the knee, so you let the gastroc, which is one of the muscles on top of the calf, the big two-headed muscle, and if you bend the knee, you kind of shorten that essentially, so it's not as stretched, so then we can work the soleus underneath. But yeah, a little bit of direct research says that's not the case necessarily. It's just that ends up being worse for growth overall. But there is some potential difference between training different heads of the gastroc and why that has value still. And that one study doesn't really, negate the worthiness of the seated calf raise. But again, I don't really like it very much. I do like a leg press one, or I pretty much always do my calf raises with my knee straight. All right, enough shit talk. We're almost at the end. Let's get our 4 sets in there. 4 sets of abs, because we don't want to have shit abs or calves. Word.
All right, that's a wrap on the workout, guys. Pretty proud of that one. Didn't get to do abs at the end, so I'm going to have to do them this afternoon when I come back to work, when I got a little block of time. So pretty proud of that workout. Like, I think I'm getting better at kind of, getting a little bit fired up. As you get into workouts and, like, for example, you finish a stiff-legged deadlift and you're already a little bit knackered, and then you then have to go on and do a split squat, rear foot elevated. And the weight for me, that's pretty tough as well. So, like, I've got to get re-fired up. To an extent, like, again, you go crazy and you headbutt a bar or something like that, and that might be too much, especially for, like, generally just training. If you're competing or something like that, and that's part of the competition preparation for you, go for it. But yeah, week-to-week training, if we go that hard as far as, excitement goes or firing up goes, it can fatigue us. So I just want to get better at, each exercise that I do, especially after the big tiring ones, like refocusing, getting that fired up or whatever, how we want to get, again, that aggression again for the next exercise, because the mindset often goes, I'm a bit tired after that. And then you sort of go down that path. So with that in mind, just each one, and I'm pretty proud. So, like, deadlifts went well, even though it doesn't seem like much. It's 1 rep up on last week. That's quite good for me. Split squat, no improvement in performance, but it's the first time I've been on the 42.5 kg dumbbells each hand, so I'm again still pretty happy with that. Leg press, that was excellent, crushed that, so that's pretty cool. So these are all good little wins for me, and showing us that we're in a pretty good spot with as far as, the right amount of work and intensity with my current lifestyle and what's going on in my world at the moment. So speaking of what's going on in my world, a couple weeks left of my honours project, which is a postgraduate research project for my exercise and sports science. So maybe I'll be fresh as a daisy come after that, but there is still a lot of work to go. So the next 2 weeks be pretty tough, I reckon. Got a lot to get through, so keep on track, keep your habits, keep your routines. Those lessons are always the same. So and as always, guys, if you are liking the content, it'd be really much appreciated if you hit the subscribe. Costs nothing to you. If you like watching the content and want to watch some more, there's a playlist up here with all of the workouts that I do, so you can see how I'm training other muscle groups as well. And remember, it's about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.